Okay, so this will be coaching for Silver Lux. All right, so I'm going to basically be going over this game that we just played, and we kind of know the outcome. We know it's a win, but that's okay. In this case, we're going to take wins because the replays are bugged. So I have to basically play with you guys, and then we'll go back through and look at the replay and then talk about everything. I'm going to be looking at how you played the game. The main thing that I really want to go over with you, just because I think it's applicable to as you learn the game and learn more about it, I want to talk about what happened after the bot tower teleport or just like macro stuff, because I think it's an interesting place to talk about because a lot of people don't know what the fuck is going on there. And also, I'll show you why. We'll talk about that spot and how it works in solo queue and things to think about. So, let's see how you play this. First things first, I'm going to turn off the fog. I'm also going to open my... Hopefully this is installed now. One moment, I gotta install this real quick. This is beta test day, all right? We're getting back into the flow, man. This is the first coaching back since like I quit for a while. And then we'll go borderless. Okay. Cool. Now, first things first, I look at this matchup and I think, all right, we're facing Annie. Annie and Master Yi. I don't know why you don't have any vision down anywhere. The first thing that you really want to do in solo queues in mid lane, mobile mids are very dangerous because you can easily get yourself into a habit of positioning in places where you shouldn't be. If you think about it, what can you really do if Yi gets on top of you, right? Not much. Now, I'm not saying that pre-6 Yi is like super scary or anything, but you should definitely have some sort of ward here or here on the lip early game so that you know, like, I'm going to play aggro and I'm going to play towards this side. And personally, I would rather you just put it in Pixel Brush. And then that way you know for sure, like, oh, okay, this guy's going to do Scuttle. Then you can cheat towards top side, towards Jarvan side, or whatever. As a mid lane, this is kind of the mini game that goes on. Again, it's not that he's super scary early game, but I just want you to be aware, like, if you don't have this vision down, it changes how the game plays. And also remember that the vision isn't just for you, it's for your jungler. Junglers aren't omnipotent and they don't know what the other jungler's doing all the time. They have a general idea, but they don't fucking know. So if the jungler sees Yi fucking around on Scuttle and then goes to this brush, you know, if he's around here lingering, he might want a 2v2. And in which case you can capitalize on having that knowledge that he doesn't know that you have. That I know that he knows that I know type shit, right? So yeah, that's the first thing I don't like. I think you should always have some sort of vision on the first Scuttle, either top side or bottom side, and then cheat towards whatever side you have vision until you see the jungler. And make your life a lot easier. All right. I don't like your positioning, the way you just threw that. All right, look. First off, what can Annie do and what's her range roughly? Is the first thing I would ask you. So Annie, I would say something like this is her range for Q. A little bit further than that. It's her range for Q. What are you afraid of right now? And what type of message are you sending to your opponent when you position this far back? To me, it just shows that you don't know that you can. This is free damage. As far as I'm concerned, as the wave pushes in, right? The wave moves in. You should be right here. And you should E right here on top of him, and you're hitting your passive. Because Annie doesn't have a stun up. Annie is dealing with range creeps, and you're playing towards top side. So you would just kind of move, you'd be prepared to move towards top side. Why? Because Yi's never there. If Yi's on this blue, he's never killing. If he started blue and he's there, he's not doing anything. He's not killing you. So you're safe, dude. Oh, let me fix this real quick. You're safe. All right. So step in, E, E, and move forward. Like you're Eing and backing up. E, throw it behind the guy and step in like you know. You should know he can't trade with you here. If he does, it's always going your way because you're going to apply your passive. And he's not that scary yet. This is the spot where you can give some damage out. Now this, I actually don't like that. And I'll tell you why. I would rather you, in this position, I would rather you hit all the creeps here. Because you're never going to be able to apply your passive, right? Think about it. Well, no matter what you do, if you E him, what the fuck can you really do? You have no kill potential here. There's no reason to do this. You won't be able to apply your passive. You won't be able to auto attack. So fuck that. Just E everything. E this. Get it all under tower. Get this under tower. And then go this way towards top side where the fight just went your team's way, right? Go towards top. Put vision down. And start preemptively moving up the river. Why do you want to do this? Why does this make sense? If you run into Yi in this brush, you'll have your Q. Worst case scenario. For some reason, he fucking soul reads this entire scenario and he fucking is ignoring top for whatever reason after all that's happened and he's not even looking top. If he catches you in this bush, you can just Q and walk away, right? And then you've also given your team knowledge. The other thing is I want you moving upriver so you can get vision down. And if Yi shows himself up top, you can start rotating towards top because you already know that York's going to TP up there. And then you can just 3v2, basically while Annie's under turret and chilling. Instead, you're Eing somebody that you can't really continue to damage. You said it yourself, it's a boring replay, right? Why is it a boring replay? Probably because you can't kill each other. We know that. We know it's tough in this matchup to kill each other. That's fine. Jam the wave and look for ways to get your team information at the very least. Obviously try to hit all the farm, but see, like, even though you hit these abilities, which makes Annie an absolute idiot. Now look, this is what happens when you didn't just like push the wave under tower, right? Now he's definitely gonna get on top of you. I think you might even have to flash. Oh, I probably would have flashed, to be honest. But the only reason that he kicks you out of lane is back where I pointed out that you should just be getting the wave under tower. Right here. You see that? Right there, your E should have gone on all that. And then you auto, and then just get the wave under, and then just reset. Because again, what are you going to do? How are you going to kill the Annie? It's not going to happen. And once that Yi shows up, I probably would have just flashed. Because there's a chance that he flashes and autos you and kills you. Because I'm pretty sure you didn't have W left. Yeah, my issue with this so far is that you are not using the power of just pushing the wave in. You're trying to harass this guy. But like, unless he's actively looking to trade with you, you're not going to be able to do anything unless you get the wave under tower anyways. So I would rather you just eating the entire wave and just jamming it under tower and then getting a quicker back and then coming back in the lane and applying pressure that way. With vision and like you're probably just going to get more farm than him because if you keep pushing the wave under tower, he's going to have to juggle like, do I get every single CS or do I just try to quickly get rid of this so that I can back? And you'll be able to just kind of jam the wave, reset, jam the wave, reset. Because again, you said it yourself, you're not doing much here. So you see Yi here. At this point, you should be, every time mid laners, you position away from the action of the gank, right? You don't have flash. You don't want to be anywhere near this shit. Well, actually, you do have flash. Sorry. In my head, you flashed. I don't know. Either way, you still, even if you didn't have flash, or even if you do have flash, you want to be towards this side, away from the gank. Don't invite any damage onto yourself. Because you don't have like, see right here? Look. Don't do that. Not necessary. In my opinion. And the other thing I'll tell you. This is not terrible. But I also think that like, you're kind of rushing your Q. Like once he does this, look. So we are safe, right? Like we're not dead here or anything. Now that he's decided, this is kind of moronic by him to go for this. Look what you do though. Don't rush your Q. Slow down. You did it earlier on the gank too. With Yi, guys, if you're facing Yi and any champ with any role, Yi works like this. And I know this sounds obvious. A lot of people don't fucking know. All right? A lot of people don't know. When you throw an ability versus Yi, it's a skill shot, anything. He can Q, an Alpha Striker, right? Well, what you want to do is encourage him to make that move and then pay very close attention to where he goes. So let me give you an example. Watch where he goes. So you can see, watch. Where is he going? So where's he landing? Here, right? So this is how you can basically use the knowledge of that champion to your advantage. Now, if you just step in and pay very close attention where he Alpha Strikes to, he lands right where he goes. So use that information to your advantage. Whenever Yi's in a compromising position, it's layering. This is all like old shit that I used to talk about anyways, but it's layering. It's the idea of like I do this, he do this. If you know what he's gonna do before he does, then there you go. You can always you can kill him. Okay, so I all in your top, and you reset. Let's look at your items. I cannot imagine spell pen boots are standard on Lux, but I'm not. Hold on a second. We're using u.gg now. Well, at least I am. I mean, I'm sure they're standard in like a, you get them eventually, but as a first item, no. Let's take a peek at the traditional mid lane stuff. Even though it's a loss, it's still fine. This is more in line with what I want. And honestly, you see this Dark Seal buy? I love this buy a lot. Especially with how you in particular played. Like I know I sort of watched you that game. You're a very safe, passive player. Why would you be afraid to buy a Dark Seal? You wouldn't be, right? Dark Seal's really good here. If you can get to like 10 stacks and then upgrade this thing, it gives you a ton of move speed and a ton of control. And then obviously Ludens. The spell pen doesn't really give you anything. It all goes back to minions and being able to jam the wave, right? You're not really going to be able to push the wave fast enough. Like Lost Chapter is going to give you a buttload of mana to just jam the wave, level up, jam the wave, and just keep doing that and getting big. I think your issue from what I'm looking at right now as a player is that you don't really seem to understand the macro of like, we as Lux, when we don't like a matchup, poke champs tend to just jam. That's it. When we don't like a matchup, the only hard part of the matchups for us as poke champs is the early game. Because in the mid and late game, basically you just test your positional knowledge and like whether or not you have vision of stuff or whatever. But the early game is probably the hardest part because you got to navigate like, oh, I deal damage or do I push? For the most part, you got yourself a lead, then you just didn't understand like, oh, you would go towards Ludens, go towards like Dark Seal, get big enough so that you can quickly get the wave under tower. And the goal, when you get a wave under tower, you can do one of two things, right? You can back or you can roam around the map. I mean, roaming doesn't necessarily even have to be going to a lane. Roaming can just be like, I want to get vision. So if you are able to just push this wave quickly, You see like, oh, Yi's over here. I saw Yi here last. Well, guess what you can do? You can go deep in the enemy's jungle. You can put a ward here. You can put a ward here. You can put a ward on the red and then gank the guy when he goes to red after you push the wave. Because guess what low elo players do all the fucking time? They just do what you guys did. Just kind of passively, like, I don't really know what I want to do, but I want to pressure you, but I don't know how. When you're in those positions, fuck that. You don't have to, as mid, you don't have to beat this guy. You don't have to beat him 1v1. In fact, the TF stuff that I do, it's very similar. I don't care about the mid lane. I get fed off everybody else. I get fed off of opportunities. Opportunities you'll have in this particular matchup is not from killing this guy, unless he's just out of line being an idiot. Fuck it. Just get the wave under tower. He can't push as fast as you can. You either wave, shit. You either wave, auto. If he gets in your way while you're doing that, if he's in the wave when you push, then you can maybe trade or whatever. But I would rather you just get the wave under. And part of it stems from game knowledge and part of it stems from your build. Spell Pen Boots doesn't give you a quick push, so that's hurting your laning. Like right now, where's Annie? What are we doing? E should hit everything. Jam. That's good. That's the first time I've seen you do, but again, it's not like a constant pressure. This is good. We don't know where Yi is. See how all this dead time that you just kind of wander around in between your E cooldown? Auto. Like the whole time. Pressure. Like get the wave going. Those autos add up. Trust. Because you don't have to do it eventually anyways. I'm skimming a little bit now because I think I've covered all I want to cover with the laning. Okay, this was the play where I think I killed Yi and then the Annie showed up. I watched you a little bit here trying to find this guy. This, again, I want you to see how... Look, Annie doesn't have an ult, right? You have this... You have like a premature ejaculator poke champ syndrome. The reason it's a cringy Q, it's not the aiming. It's the way you play this fight. The fight, to me, looks like this in my mind. Annie cannot kill you under any circumstances ever. That's how my brain interprets this. Like, if I were you and I was playing Lux and I put my ward in here, right? Let's just say I'm you and I get to this position where I put the ward in here. What do you see? This? Recognize. Level 7 versus level 8. What else? No mana, right? No mana. Also, if you were watching top, I don't know, she doesn't have ult. Even if she had ult, look how much mana she has. Timber's ult's about 100 mana. Even if she can afford to ult you, she gets no fucking mana back, right? There's no way that she gets level 8 in this fight, and there's no way that this situation changes. None of the champions around you are going to die. She's not clearing a ward that could get her to level 8. I mean, even if you're somehow thinking about all this, but the fact is, level 7 versus level 8, she doesn't have mana. So what do? When you see this, you do the wrong thing. Look. You Q. Why do you Q? There's no need to Q. What should you do instead? It should be E on top, right? E, auto. And you literally fucking auto as many times as you like before queuing. Slow it down. You have to be able to recognize these are, I don't know how I would frame it. This is like a lethal spot. Annie is dead here if, assuming you play this position right, she is dead or she's going to have to flash, right? But what happens when you rush your Q and your E? You rushed everything, right? Well, it's because you're not viewing it as a situation where you could literally walk in her face, E calmly, then Q calmly, auto, and then decide what you want to do. You could potentially get her flash, but because you rush it and you didn't recognize the spot, then she has to run away, and you miss the opportunity. I would take one plate and back. You should be leaving right now. There's not much for you to gain. Yee's level 6. You do have good vision, I will grant you that, but it's not about that. It's about the fact you're not taking 2 plates, and you might as well get in position to pressure the wave again. Red buff Annie with E actually win now. She may be able to like fight back, but she's not going to. She's gonna run there. She doesn't have anything. You can test it. Regardless, you can definitely test it. Because Yee's dead, you can see Yorick. It's not a risk in my eyes. Level lead. A lot of these wasteful E's that don't accomplish anything. Why are you Eing? Are you gonna kill him? That's how you should view this. How are you going to kill him if you hit that E on Annie? You're not, right? You have no mana. No one's near you. No, you're not setting up anything. Get the wave out of the way. What's the point of damaging this guy? There's no point. Okay. Let's back up. This was a good one. I remember this situation, and I was thinking, like, this would be a good spot to talk about. This is kind of like a good lesson for people wanting to play poke champs in general, how things go. A lot of this is because you didn't shove. Again, it's all about shoving the wave, right? Hell, you could ult the wave, and this situation goes a lot different, believe it or not. Even though you wouldn't have mana, it would still go a lot differently. Because even if Annie rotates off, guess what? Her tower gets hurt. And hell, if she rotates off in front of you, you can just walk up and hit the tower and take a plate. So, what you do here is good. Except, this is, the skill shot stuff is all rushed again. I see that you're trying to steal the rift, but I don't care so much about the rift in these situations. What I want to see, I want you, again, you're rushing everything. Just calm. If it's there, it's there. Take what makes sense. This, you're not about to deal no fucking 1k damage with a Lux ult onto a rift, right? That's just not going to happen, first of all. There's no way. But, I mean, that aside, what I would rather see is I'd rather you walk up calmly, again. He doesn't know, like, I guarantee you, we take his vision right now, he probably doesn't see over this wall. Right? We know that. Like, I mean, it's just odds. Like, sometimes there'll be a weird ward here, but most of the time, he's not going to know. So what you do in this situation, he doesn't know. There's a lot of this game that it's like, I know that he doesn't know type shit. This would be one of those situations where I go, well, I know he probably doesn't see me. So I'm just going to go to this position here. And that's going to give me a free Q. And your goal is to threaten the steal. And if he gets it, whatever. But you just kind of assume that he's got this here or let Jarvan do his thing. You really need to hit your damage on targets in these fights. Like, multiple targets. I would rather you try to let whatever happens here happen and make sure that once your damage comes out, it hits both the Rift and the Yi, as opposed to trying to, max range, so to speak. Max range this steal, rushing it. I'd rather you help Jarvan out because I want you to see how this fight plays. Look at how you don't have your ult here to chain. Also, notice what happens to your positioning when you try to hero mode this shit, right? When you try to hero mode this shit, you put yourself in a situation where you've max ranged your ult, so you've pretty much wasted that only on the Rift. You didn't do damage to the Yi, and now you're at the front of the pit. All this is not necessary. Let this fight play the way it's going to play. Try to avoid just dogpiling into the pit. And the same thing goes on Dragon as well. Let it just happen. Like, he got the jump on it. He's sneaking it, whatever. You caught him. Don't panic and, it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. And to prove that, I want you to recall what happened after they get this. They kill you or whatever. Watch. Even with that Rift, in mid, you are dead. Look. They didn't even get the damn thing. So that's why it's not worth panicking over. The other thing you got to remember, because you did that, your tower fell a lot sooner than it would have had to. They might have gotten the rift, but you would have been able to defend it faster, and it probably wouldn't have dealt nearly as much damage on that siege. To be honest, I am happy that your tower wasn't damaged here. That's good, but like before. But I think you could have avoided all that. Just don't dogpile on these objectives. You're poke champ. Again, most important thing about poke champ: wave control and positioning, dude. Just wave control, position. You control the game. That's a control mage. You control. You are last alive. You are the guy that cares about the objectives. You are the guy that is very selective with the shots and make sure that, like, does it make sense? And then you will find that a lot of this will get smoother for you. Okay, there's one more thing that I would like to talk about, and then I think I've covered the most important stuff in this, if I'm being honest, for this replay, because a lot of the things after lane phase are kind of... Okay, let's talk about this. This was good, actually. This was something that I liked that you did, but with one minor correction. Let's do a little bit of a analysis of sorts. Okay? I am TPing to bottom. You as a player need to start trying to figure out how a fight's going to go before it goes down. All right? So what do we have on bot side right now? Like, you have to do a quick, like, it's quick head math. It's like quick computation. All right. You have a 2v2 dive happening under tower. You have tower, Lulu, Twitch, GP, and then Jarvan's en route, and he's closer than you, right? He's coming. So you have all those things. Enemy team has a small wave under tower, very small wave. Small wave under tower. They have Thresh, Jinx, and Yi diving. When I look at this, and honestly, because I'm in this game, when I see the dive, I'm TPing here because I know that if I TP here, I block the dive and they're basically dead. Even in just a 3v3. I know that they're dead. I know that I'm big enough, like I have Triforce or whatever. You can't know all of this information on the fly, but like we can look at this and be like, oh, they're fucked. Right? Why are they fucked? You can see Yorick, you can see Annie, you could see everything from your position, from your vantage point. Now, I like what you did here. In that you recognized quickly that top is worth a hold. This was very good by you overall. The only real criticism I have is that honestly, you might have been able to rotate a little quicker, but this was pretty fucking good for your level to just know to like go there and to like show presence there. Like I thought this was a pretty solid move. And I think it's a good learning spot for everybody. Mid laners, if you see your top laner TP to bottom and it goes well, mid laners can actually rotate to top through the jungle like this. Just obviously be careful, you know, if for some reason the mid follows or whatever, but and the top laner can actually quickly rotate to mid, and it's a very snappy adjustment of like, I'm going to ladder up to top, and then the top laner can very quickly hold mid, and then you really won't lose as much. So I really like this move by you, and I wanted to talk about what happens after this point. So right here, you shove this wave in. I don't like that you're rotating to bottom. I would rather you back. Again, it's all about keeping your tower up and controlling. Because you left randomly, you allowed this Annie to push your tower. And it's been a couple mistakes that allowed this tower to fall about 5 or 10 minutes probably before it should have. It was this mistake here, and then it's this random look down to bottom. Your function is to be like a brick. You're going to get huge. You're going to jam the wave. All that stuff that we talked about before. And then after, and this was the last thing I wanted to talk about in this replay in particular, was what happens after bot towers fall, and what we can do in this particular game. So really, both lanes are empty. I would be very scared, like they are missing a tower. I'd be very scared to like stay lingering around like this as Lux. You're very close to the wave. You don't need to be that close to the wave. Because if Yi shows up, it's very painful for you. And as you can see, I didn't know that that was going to happen, but on cue it happens, right? You're in a position that is not safe. This is not a safe spot for a poke champ. You don't have a tower to defend you, right? So it's super dangerous. It's super sketchy. You're super close here. Personally, to me, this auto shit's a no-go. Think about your spacing next time. Where should you really be? You should be standing here, and you should be max ranging your E and your Q. And sometimes it's okay even to give up a couple creeps just to push the wave and get safe. So you push, and you're towards Jarvan more, and you have flash if you need to. But it's all about predicting, like, how can I die in advance? Here, you almost die. And you waste everything, right? You wouldn't have to have done that. Could have been a lot smoother. Ooh, and yeah, you barely dodged the bullet there. Now, if you just used that ult to shove the wave in the first place, that wouldn't have happened. So this, when this towers fall, it gets kind of sketchy. Right away, I don't like how you veered off towards mid. I kind of want you walking like here. Because what is going to happen is it's dependent on what the enemy team decides to do and how they decide to siege. Now, obviously, once she shows, you're in the right place. I'm just saying in advance, try to think about it ahead. Notice how you're following again? I get that you're trying to be helpful, but look, just push this. Just walk down the middle and go, it's going to take me a while to get there. Just pressure one side. So instead of following, just throw your E and your R and just get this going to mid. You don't even have to, like, go under here and smack the tower. You're doing damage to the tower without being there. Just get this moving, and then you can rotate to top. Because look what you do instead. The other thing is you walked up here, but you didn't even really help clear this wave. You just kind of E'd randomly. Think about what would have happened if you just shoved this under tower. Then you could have made the judgment call. You could have been like, how many people are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can auto this like a few times and maybe get this tower down. You know, my gangplank might hold. Like, sometimes it's okay to make calculated sacrifices, calculated choices in mid. This whole concept is a similar concept to, like, do I follow my opponent? Like, if you're facing a TF and you're playing fucking, I don't know, any champion that can't shove quickly, and TF, and the wave is like dead even, right? It's like a dead even wave. So it's like creeps, and then enemy sees a creeps here, and it's like dead even, like split. And the TF goes, whoosh, and he leaves, and he just ults to bottom. The amount of times that I see motherfuckers just follow him and don't push, it just blows my mind. Because you're basically giving the guy that left, so like here's a perfect example. No, this lane is just sitting here even. All you're doing by following is just giving extra value to this if it goes their way. If it goes their way. Now, sometimes, you know, it's all just like risk assessment. Like, how often are you going to get up there and they're going to dive the tower and then you're going to show up in the nick of time and get like a double kill? It's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen as often. Now, as opposed to in solo queue going, I'm going to jam this wave and I'm going to put it under tower and I'm going to do guaranteed 1/3 to 1/2 damage to this tower. Guaranteed damage to this tower that I won't have to do later. Potentially, we could still get lucky top and my team can hold this dive, or it's just it was essentially a break even, nothing happened. And then you just walked up there and stood there. So, in conclusion for this replay, because I'm going to shut this one down because we've been going for quite a while, what I would work on for you is really emphasize, instead of just using your skill shots randomly without thinking about like where they're going, try to have a purpose of those. If you're poking somebody, you're poking them because you think you can kill them, right? Otherwise, there's no point of fucking doing it. You're literally just wasting mana for no reason. Or if you think like a 2v2 is about to happen and that's a different, you're gonna trade just so that when the 2v2 happens, you're a little bit lower to take down or whatever. Most of the time, though, it's about just getting the waves under tower consistently and focusing on the E hitting as much shit as possible, autoing constantly, like relentlessly, and then Dark Seal Ludens so that you can push faster. You are very, in this game, my opinion of your Lux is you are very, and I'm just being honest with you because you're paying for coaching, you are very safe, but you didn't offer that much. In some ways, that's a good thing, being safe, right? You didn't just throw away towers, you didn't feed, but you didn't offer much. I didn't see waves getting shoved often. I didn't see vision getting placed often. I didn't see like I saw you walk into the pit here all crazy when it's like really it's not a panic spot. It's a very like, okay, they get rift. That's fine. I have full health on my tower. We have GP top. Like, it's fine. I just see if you can get waves moving more often and you can stop these like silly follows and kind of create your own pressure, then you're going to have more success. Also the item choices. So it's like Ludens and then Spell Pen. You have the Dark Seal in there and then you can mix in whatever you feel depending on the matchup. All right. I hope this helps you, dude. And that's that.